In this lecture, I hope to describe yet another genre of formal writing so that you will be able to edit effectively examples of it. It is a genre that is very common in corporate, technical, and scientific contexts. It's called the proposal. When corporations began to dominate society in the 19th century, business decisions were usually made autocratically and without explicit public justifications. All stakeholders of such corporations accepted their decisions without argument. But by the mid-20th century, corporations became accountable to their stakeholders, government agencies, stockholders, consumers, and even employees. Thus, business managers now must routinely justify their decisions. Such justifications occur through arguments, often in the form of proposals. The genre of the proposal can be made more transparent through the application of a model of argument called the Toulmin model. The Toulmin model is a simple set of 6 concepts, each of which poses a question that identifies one element of the argument. Here are the 6 concepts, along with the questions that they imply. First, the claim is the question, what's your point? Why are you arguing? The grounds is the answer to the question, what do you have to go on? What supports your point? The qualifier is the answer to the question, how sure are you of your claim? The warrant answers the question, how did you get from your grounds to your claim? In other words, what principle or rule allows you to associate the grounds you offer with the claim you want to be accepted? Backing is the component of argument that answers the question, what supports your warrant? Where does your warrant come from? The rebuttal, finally, answers the question, are there any exceptions to your claim? The Toulmin model identifies the 6 essential elements of all arguments so that they can be further examined and evaluated. Also, as seen in this example, this model shows the interrelationship among the elements. Here's the Toulmin model in the abstract. In a corporate setting, the Toulmin model can identify the same elements. Once we identify the elements in an argument, we can then analyze and evaluate them. What kinds of claim, for instance, are typical in corporate arguments? Well, they're generally policy proposals and tactical claims. What kinds of grounds are used to support corporate claims? Well, they're usually quantitative data about economics, social trends, risk, and uncertainty. What kinds of warrant are used to relate corporate grounds to corporate claims? Well, they're usually statements like these. Whatever increases profits should be done. Whatever reduces costs should be favored, and so on. Notice how, among arguers in corporate contexts, such statements are taken for granted and therefore usually not expressed in formal argument. How might we apply the Toulmin model to the argument in a proposal to explicate its genre? Well, here's a typical example of a corporate proposal. Take a moment now to pause this lecture and read the proposal. Notice, first of all, the gross structure of this document: introduction or purpose, background or problem, solution, and conclusion. Now, the introduction and conclusion sections are typical of most formal documents, but what makes this document uniquely a proposal is the problem and solution sections. In the problem section, an argument is advanced for the main claim, something like local branch operations are problematic. This claim is partitioned into two subclaims. One, personal costs are high, and two, customer service is poor. Notice that this first subclaim is one of extent, and the second is one of significance. Notice further that these subclaims are backed up with data. Statistics like 25% of Ford tellers' time goes towards routine transactions. Examples like the Mayfair customers in particular are dissatisfied. And testimony, a manager at Mayfield confirms customer complaints. The solution section of this document exhibits a structure similar to that in the problem section. The solution section advances an argument for the main claim, something like, an ATM will improve branch operations. This claim is partitioned into two subclaims. One, the ATM will reduce time. Two, the ATM will reduce costs. Notice that the first subclaim is one of efficacy, and the second one is one of cost-effectiveness. Notice further that these subclaims are backed up with data, examples of other ATM locations, statistics for the costs of an ATM, and testimony implied by the reference to the past work by the ATM vendor. Here is an outline of the main argument of this proposal, made clearer by the application of the Tolman model. This example illustrates the structure and content of the genre of the proposal.